Hello, and welcome to another episode of Crossing Bridges Talk Show. I'm your host, Larry Montgomery Sr., and my co host, out sick, my guest host, late. So I'm here by myself. This week's topic is regrets. That's regrets. Regrets. I chose this topic because this is something that kind of comes up after the fact. Um, as a father, grandfather, great grandfather, talking to any one of my children, grandchildren, or great grandchild, um, this is something that I need to sit down and have a conversation with them because there are a lot of benefits to understanding what regrets are, how to deal with them, why they occur. I personally have, I guess my share of regrets, things that I've done, said, or did not do that now that I think about it, I probably could have handled it better. I should have handled it better. I should have handled it differently. In the moment, whatever was going through my mind wasn't something that really represents me as a person who I see I am. So the conversation about regrets is something that a father should have with all of his children so they'll understand um, the importance of trying to avoid doing things that you will probably regret. And I'm coming from the standpoint of when you're in the moment, it doesn't dawn on you that if you do not choose your words correctly, or if you do not respond appropriately or with some forethought, that you may find yourself doing something that you're going to regret. And that's not necessarily um, highlighting things like criminal activities. Okay. Most and really all criminal activities are something that you do regret unless you're just wired differently from everybody else with some sense of common sense. So I have done some research and I think I want to lay that out for you. I don't plan to be before you very long. If this is 30, 45 minutes, that'll be a long time. So let me just kind of get started with that. Regrets. Key points. Intense long term regrets often stem from poorly made big life decisions. The biggest regrets tend to relate to social relationships, research suggests, while the most enduring regrets tend to be for actions not taken. Regrets can potentially be avoided by making decisions consistent with your values. Have you ever made a decision that you later regretted? You're not alone. Most people are familiar with that feeling of emptiness mixed with a hint of anger. Your mind speeds through alternate timelines in which you did something different and things turned out better. Although many regrets are small and quickly forgotten, such as a stupid comment you made on social media, there are some regrets that endure. They become salient sliding doors, moments for which you can easily envision a better storyline for your life. Reflecting on the most enduring regrets is important because they usually link back to big life decisions. Each of us is in control of these decisions. We can potentially avoid the worst regrets by planning or by having a plan. But what are the decisions we are most likely to regret and why? What do we regret? One way that we can learn about life's biggest regrets is to directly ask people. A nationally representative study, which asked 270 Americans to describe a significant life regret, found the most commonly reported regrets involved romance, family, education, career, finance, and parenting. Another way that we can learn about life's biggest regrets is to listen to those who care for the dying. These carers, who spend much of their time in discussion with those in their last act, have a unique perspective. Perhaps the most well known example is Byron Weir, an Australian uh, carer who wrote a book called The Top Five Regrets for the Dying. In it, she describes the five most common wishes she heard from some to depart clients, some soon to depart clients. Number one, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. How many of us have faced that kind of a situation? Stringently adhering to cultural norms at the expense of your own passions will result in disappointment and bitterness. Number two, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Most of us face that. Time is non refundable. So if you spend it working, then you can't spend it more meaningful. You can't spend it doing more meaningful things. Number three, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. It is only by being open and honest about your thoughts and feelings can you form genuine bonds with other people. Now, I'm going to divert for a second here. You can say almost anything to almost anyone if you pick the right time and the right words to say it. Back to the article, number four, I believe. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. It is dispiriting to be disconnected from those who truly understand you and accept you as you are. Number five, I wish I had let myself be happier. The expectations and opinions of others should not prevent you from being happy with who you are. Moreover, happiness can be found in the journey, not just the destination, which you often never reach. What leads to regret? A number of features increase the likelihood that a decision will lead to regret. Feelings of regret in the long term are more likely for decisions involving inaction, that is, choosing not to do something. For example, that overseas job you never took, or that person you never had the courage to ask out. This kind of regret is enhanced by our imagination, which compares the real world with visions of the best alternative world. You can never know how things would have turned out, but your mind can easily paint a rosy picture. Decisions resulting in poor outcomes produce greater regret when it is harder to justify those decisions in retrospect. Some decisions are made quickly without consulting others or thinking through the options and their possible consequences. When these decisions turn out poorly, you are more likely to lament how easily you could have done something differently. Regrets often result from decisions that move you further from the ideal version of yourself. The person you want to be is grounded by your values, which reflect the things that are important to you. Some value power, some value power, others conformity, others security. Whatever it is, decisions that comprise your values expose you to the risk of regret. The take homes. There are a few important take homes from this discussion. First, the most enduring regrets relate to social relationships. Humans have a biological need to belong, and decisions that threaten this sense of belonging are particularly fraught with risk. Nurture your relationships. Second, the most intense regrets are for decisions that are hard to justify in retrospect. To avoid regrets, it is important to make decisions that are consistent with your personal life rules and values. Even if things turn out poorly, you will know why the decision made sense for you at the time. Third and lastly, the biggest regrets tend to relate to the things you did not do, perhaps because you were scared or were too busy working. It's easy to it's easier to, of course, correct after taking action than time travel and pursue opportunities you left behind. Give things a go. Now, in a minute, I'm going to talk about how to limit the 10, how to limit 10 of life's biggest regrets. Yeah, I read that. But oh, there's Kimmy out there. Kimmy, you said you was going to come, but you never came. Hmm. Well, I have a couple of, I guess, confessions. The things that I personally regret saying and doing, and one particular situation, I was with a friend of mine. We'd gone to college together, and oh, you didn't get the link, Kimmy. I'll send it to you, and as I talk here, the friend of mine I hadn't seen in a while. I had been away in the service and I had just come back, and we were riding around in my car, talking and whatever, just catching up. And for some reason, I felt the need to ask him to leave the car. And I guess he was kind of taken back and wasn't ready to leave. So I said some things to him that I really should not have said. And to tell you the truth, while I think about him, what I said, I am pretty much embarrassed and wouldn't want to repeat it. But the point of that is, while I said what I said, I didn't really mean it. But it was actually the last thing I ever said to him. And because sometime later he died, which I was not available to even attend his funeral or anything. And so I regret that because what I said I should not have said. There was no real reason for it to be said, and it shouldn't have been said because I was angry. Uh, and then I did not come back, and I guess that's the biggest regret. I did not come back and say, "Look, I didn't really mean that like that, or I shouldn't have said that, or whatever." I should have apologized. And if you're listening, bro, I'm really sorry for what I said because you were worth more to me than those stupid words that came out of my mouth. And so that And among, I mean, I can talk about decisions I've made that, I look back on and say, that just didn't make any sense, or really, was it worth it? I can remember um, in my career as a banker, the thinking was, well, you're smarter than most of the people who you work for, who are over you. You have more college education, and you're kind of smart. The reality was they had much more experience at this. And more importantly, they were actually in charge. So when I didn't get promoted as I thought I should, um, Kimmy's asking me, let me know where you sent it. Oh, I don't know how many different emails you got, but I sent it in Facebook Messenger. That's the one I use. Now back to the story. I forgot what I was thinking. Yeah. So at that particular time in my career, it was easier for me to just go find another job. And at that with the new employer, look for my more money, raise, and a promotion. Again, from a college student's perspective, this is great. I can come work here for a couple of years and then go work somewhere else, make more money, and have a bigger position. Okay. But the reality is, I only learned what I learned to help me in my career over those 2 years I was there, someplace else. So I'm not bringing a lot to the table. And so each time I decided to move from one position to another, from one company to another, I was bringing more information. I was bringing a different cultural perspective, but I wasn't bringing a whole lot more experience. Um, so let me see if I can get Kimmy situated here. And hold on, as I look for this here. And so those are some things that I actually regret. Let's try this one for you. Here you go. Try this one. That was to Kimmy. Back to my points. Now I'm going to go off and read the top 10 items on my list of life's biggest regrets. Number one, not making amends. And I think I just expressed my situation with that. We all saw this one coming, right? It's no surprise that not making amends when old friends and family members makes this list. Sure, sometimes we need to let go of toxic people in our lives. Other times we hold grudges that aren't healthy and definitely don't make us happy. Take a minute to reflect on each situation. There is definitely at least one that popped into your head, and think about whether you really want to move on or if you might want to mend that bridge. Remember that sometimes making amends isn't about making the other person feel better, but about your mental well being. Number two, sweating the small stuff. You might not have been expecting this one. The elderly regret having wasted so much time and energy stressing over little things of life. Letting those things go can free up so much energy that we can redirect towards appreciating the big stuff. Worrying is the number one way of wasting precious time, which in turn severely affects your happiness. So if you're going to do it, make sure it's about something important. Let me see one thing here. Okay. Number three, unaccomplished goals. I'm all about goals. I did create a website about completing my bucket list after all, but I'll be the first one to admit that sometimes I let life get in the way of completing those bucket list items. Surely many people at the end of their lives have fallen into this trap and have regrets about not achieving their dreams. Number four, words left unsaid. Looking back, I have this to regret that too often when I loved, I did not say so. Another way that fear stops us from living our lives to the fullest. We're so often afraid to speak our minds, to tell people how we feel, or to say something that might make us vulnerable. Of course, that includes the usual suspects. I love you and I'm sorry. But withholding your feelings when you're struggling, hurt, or upset can cause just as much damage to our relationships and lead to serious regret in the long term. Choose your words wisely. We don't want to be hurtful, but say what we feel. When you don't, you are withholding a little bit of the truth inside. Number five, working too much. Having our phones in our pockets can mean constant access, making it harder than ever to mentally clock out at the end of the day. Number six, worrying too much about what others think. We all walk around worrying what others think of us. The sooner we let go of this inhibition, the sooner we'll be able to be our true selves and focus the things that are actually bringing us joy. Number seven, not following their passion. Again, most of us aren't exactly encouraged to follow our passions in this workaholic society that believes in in a conventional life of having a good job, loving spouse, adorable children, and a large house, amongst other things. Do some real reflecting on why your dream job is your dream job and whether you're truly setting yourself up to be happy with what you do. Number eight, taking life too seriously. Many of the things that we believe are the end of the world in the moment won't even matter in 10 to 20 years, maybe even in a month. Number nine, listening to their intuition. We all know what we what will make us happy, and often it's not even buried that deep down. We can get a little mixed up and need to correct our course sometimes, but we also know what it feels like to be drawn towards one decision only, to have our instinct tell us to go in another direction. Not listening to that instinct can get us into all kinds of messes that can feel completely overwhelming. Lastly, number 10, not spending more time with family and friends. In the end, our relationships with family, friends, and partners bring us more joy than working or superficial successes do. Um, I'm going to close soon, but right now I want to just come back and reflect. Okay, I got Miss Kimmy, and I got her mother, our guest host, Miss Jeanette. Welcome, both of
Welcome.
you. Kimmy, say hello and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Kimmy Bambara,
And you live where?
and I'm in Columbus, Georgia.
Okay. Well, Jeanette, you can just do what you do.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Montgomery. I live in Lithonia, Georgia, and in the middle is my youngest daughter, Kimmy, and on the end is my oldest brother, Larry.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, Will is not here. He's not feeling well.
I
Hopefully
pray.
he'll be. Yeah. Hopefully he'll be back next week, God willing, and the creek don't rise. But
Mm.
in the meantime, we're talking about regrets. Um, I don't want to ask you if you've ever had any regrets, but I'm sure that you might have some stories about things that are regrettable. Kimmy, since you just joined us, why don't you spill your guts?
Glad to. Um, Thank you for having me, by the way. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Um, well, I'll definitely say, according to the list that you put, I don't know. When it comes to regrets, I'm definitely gonna say for me, when I don't say what I really want to say sometimes, that can be a regret for me because then I dwell on it, and then time will pass and years will pass, embarrassingly to say. And, there may have been things that have just kind of been weighing on you. And it would have just been easier to, find a way to address it with, whoever the individual was and just be free from it.
Mhm.
I have a tendency to write in my journal. So there are times when that's the way that I release it, but I think that in certain situations, it probably would have been better to just verbally communicate that to the individual instead of just letting it kind of dwindle for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that. Do you have an example of something you regret?
Something that I regret saying. Well, I mean, absolutely conversations. I could just say basic conversation, just picking up the phone and saying, "Hi, how are you? Are you okay? Do you need anything?" Um,
Hmm.
it could be to anybody, a family member, a friend, somebody who was supportive to me along the way, that I just sort of kind of neglected to reach out to. It could
Hmm.
be something as simple as that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Jeanette,
What was the question?
you have something that you may regret that you can share with us?
Oh yeah, I like the way you put that. Um, well, it's a number of things that I regret, but reality is reality, and like I say, if in other words, like I'm the type of person, if you don't want nobody in your business, you don't tell it. You
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying? So they always will have that option to assume, but they just don't have the direct, you know, knowledge of whatever the situation is. But
Mhm.
as far as regrets, it's a lot of things that I regret. But but you can't turn back the hands of time. So in order, I have to keep pushing forward to you know, deal with what's in front of me because I can't deal with what's in back of me because I can't see what's behind me now.
Mhm.
Unless I turn around and sometimes you don't want to look back. You want to keep going forward, and that aspect. So, but moving forward, I just continue to stay prayed up and ask God to, to continue to lead me in the right direction, and just go on from there.
Okay. Okay. I certainly understand that. I personally, like I said earlier in the show, you may or may not have heard, have done some things that I regret. And at the time, I probably knew that I was doing something that was going to, like they say, blow up in my face, you know, but you
Mhm.
do it and then you try to continue on. But sometimes you have to stop and you have to say to yourself, look, I need to confront that. I need to deal with that. I need to
Mhm.
make amends if any way I possibly can. And in an earlier show, um, Angela joined us, And it was very interesting because I hadn't talked to her in quite a while, but I did talk to her before the show, a few days before the show. And I had um, to apologize to her for my failure as a father. You know, I can sit back and I can say now why I thought what I was doing was right, because I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I could make all kinds of excuses. Well, this wasn't right, and that wasn't right, and so, and whatever kind of stuff. But those are just excuses. You know, had I known better, I would have done better, and I would have stepped up to the plate like our father should have at that time. So I had to apologize to her, and I didn't have a problem apologizing to her. And it wasn't as if, like, look, it was going to make a major difference in her life. But at least I felt that she would know that I earnestly realized that that was an error in judgment and it was a selfish decision. Um, but, God does what he does. You know, you make a mistake and he'll let you deal with the consequences to a
Yeah.
certain extent until you
Yeah.
figure it out. Okay.
Well,
Don't do that no
well,
more. Okay.
I'm still on that course. I hope I still be on Earth when I do figure it out. But if not, as a done deal.
Yeah, well, the things that you can actually, and I know you said, you can't go back in time, which is true, but some things you can actually sit back and say, look, I did this and so is still available. Let me go and tell them. So look, hey, listen, that was the wrong thing I did, or I shouldn't have did that, or I had misinformation, or I just didn't know any better and I did it. And so here we are. And I just wanted to let you know that I now understand that that wasn't what I should have did. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
But
um, yeah.
the thing is, my situation, I have done all that
Mm,
beyond and beyond. I have done
mm,
all that, you know. Till now, it's like, you know, I can continue to pray, but I think God has other plans for me. I think He wants me to just move on from that situation and leave it, where it is, because I know He knows that I put my best foot forward, to as far as my dilemma. You understand what I'm saying?
mhm,
So,
mhm, mhm,
that's the thing with me. I've tried.
mhm,
I've done
mhm.
everything under the sun that I can possibly do, you know.
But you know that
So
sometimes, and I'm not trying to, debate you on your feelings and what you've been through. This
yeah,
is not not where I'm going.
yeah,
What I want to point out is that sometimes that's our lot in life. Everybody, is not a king or a queen. There are some servants, there are some soldiers, there are some, you know, other people, other tasks. God has this whole plan laid out. He has what he needs you to do when he needs you to do it, and your
yeah,
reward will come. Now, whether it comes in this life or in the hereafter, it will come. This is the trust and the faith that we keep in him. And so, I can certainly understand you try to do the right thing, and then sometimes you run into a lot of people who can't figure it out, and they just keep
yeah,
abusing you like it's supposed to be. You're supposed to
yeah,
do that. And you can say to yourself, look, well, I'm supposed to be me. And
right,
if me is doing the right thing, then that's what I do. And when
yeah,
you don't accept it or you mess it up, that's on you. You have to figure that out as you go along, because trust me, karma is real. It will come right back to you. You may not see it as you thought you would see it, but it sure
yeah,
enough will make you understand, yep, this is what you did, and here it is right back at you. you know
yes, yes,
um, but
yes, yes.
mm, but as a father, I think that, and the only reason I picked this is that Z- your son back there with his hand up, like nobody was going to see it.
Say
Uh, put your face in there so people can see you. Okay, there you are. You're looking handsome.
say that.
Yeah, you need to comb your hair, but okay. But anyway, as a father, I chose this topic because it's something that we all go through. We do things that we regret, and it's not something that's a secret. Until you actually go through it and you think about it later on. And say, oh, I shouldn't have did that, you know, or I
Right.
could have did this and I didn't do it. You know, I might be happy because one of the topics, as I mentioned in that list, is the dream job that you wanted to have. I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to play the drums, for a hot minute, and I did. But then that was over because drumming wasn't my thing. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
good. Huh?
Beautiful green drum set, that I could have used, you know.
See, it's all about you now, right?
Oh no, no. I just thought I might this moment want to play the drums. And
But yeah, you do things, but that wasn't a career that I wanted to pursue. I mean, at the moment, I thought it was, but that was a flash in the pan. Um, to tell you the truth, what I really wanted to do, and I never took a step towards it, was be a hospital administrator.
Oh,
That's what I really wanted to do. You know,
wow.
and you had the chance to go to school for it, and decided to do something else right there. So okay, but you came here, Larry, to do this, and then you didn't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I could look back over my life and say, well, what would my life be like had I done that? Probably totally different. But that wasn't the life that God had for me. He had this life, the one I'm living.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
so, Kimmy, how is it down there in Georgia?
hot.
Oh, hot, yeah. You
There,
guys getting alerts for the storm that's coming through, or no?
I haven't gotten any, but we did have some a few days ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Hmm.
Well, I haven't received nothing, no alert yet, but I can just look at the sky and that alerts me right then and there, you know, it's about to rain or it looks like the trees are blowing. I better take heed and go on inside, so yeah. So
Did
anyway,
you stock up?
I stay stacked up. That's not for as far as cash, but
Uh-huh.
on the other hand, I stay stacked.
I got those stacks over there.
Yeah, yeah. I stay with the essentials. Yes, I stay with that. Mhm.
Yeah, I got my stacks too, but I call Uber and they ain't moving nowhere. So,
Yeah, okay. Mhm. Yeah.
so Kimmy, I mean, we haven't talked in a while, and I'm not going to ask you if you have anything that you regret, but moving down there to Georgia, is it slow or is it, more your speed?
Oh, well, you know what? This Georgia is well home to me. I grew up here, although I was
Mhm,
of course born in New York, but I don't regret moving back. I think that
mhm,
I was blessed enough to live the northern life and I'm blessed enough to live the southern life. So
mhm.
I was at a place where I had the opportunity to choose and I think I made the right decision. It's very hot and humid, but I could deal with that. My air conditioner is working just fine. So that's normally where I'm AC.
That's good. How's the job?
It's going very well. I'm
Good.
actually fortunate enough to work from home. So I'm so thankful for that. Um,
Hmm.
it's going really well.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good. And how does pronounce your son's name? Zion?
Zayon.
Zayon. I got to get the A in there. Zayon. How's school down there for him? Is he homeschooling or is he going to the actual building?
He's going in. He's going in the
Okay.
and it's going pretty good so far. No COVID case. Thankfully, thank God.
Hmm.
No report of any COVID cases thus far. The school year just started. So just hoping and praying that it's smooth sailing from here.
Does he have to wear a mask or no?
They are required to wear a mask. Yep.
Oh, good, good,
And
good,
also
good.
vaccines for the from 12 and up now as well. So
Hmm.
I presume that, some of the, kids are getting vaccinated and stuff. So
He's 12?
he is 12. It's been
Mm,
a long time. He's
yeah.
12 now.
Wow, double digits. My
Yeah.
God. Has he decided what he wants to do when he gets out of school?
He's still deciding. He's talented in a lot of different things, so he's still deciding. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Or the MBA is an option.
It is?
Yeah. So he's getting his ball on.
Uh,
We'll be hoping for something big.
That's the NBA, basketball or baseball?
Basketball.
Oh, okay, good.
Mhm.
Well, that's good. I wish him well. It's a tough business, but it is a business. You know, you look at it that way because, it just come to me that comedians, I used to think about being a comedian, never really wanted to move towards it, but think about it. And so over the years, some comedians you kind of follow, you know who they are, whatever.
You've been
And this,
following me?
I don't really follow them, but you know them. So
I,
when they
I,
come to
I,
town,
I said you've been following me.
yeah, but it hasn't worked out like I thought. I really wanted to get my money back, but
Oh, yeah. Well, let me see how much change I got.
I mean, you was at the Apollo, you went by it, and
Of
I was
course.
waiting for you. You didn't show up.
No, I was too afraid to. Too many Afro Americans in one spot for me. I'll do mine outside the door.
but the point I wanted to make was following someone like who was that Steve Harvey, comedian, and Bernie Mac, guys like that there, and some women who are good comedians. Byron Allen was a comedian, but now he is one of the richest blacks in America. He moved from being a comedian to being a producer for comics. So he
Wow.
has his own television network and so on and so forth. And and I say all that, for Zion, that if basketball playing on the court doesn't really work or fit, when he gets to the point of,
Yeah,
he can look around up there and say, well, there's other ways to make money. And
absolutely.
I shouldn't be disappointed that I'm not playing basketball on the court because there's other ways to make money, you know, in the same business. That's all. That's just my point.
I
So,
agree.
yeah, you've got to be flexible sometimes.
You
You know,
have to be. Have you written any books lately?
when was the last one you read? Mhm.
I regret to inform to inform
You didn't read any.
for
Okay.
you.
No, well, I'm looking forward to reading this one about the undercover police officer, something to uh
Intense?
and yes, that he's going undercover or he's trying to find out he's in a situation where he's trying to find out, come on, help me out, shit.
I
He's
am trying
trying,
to help you.
okay, yeah. I'm trying to get you,
You,
help me
you,
out.
the one I
Uh,
just put up.
um,
That's the one you're talking
exactly.
about?
I think that's I want. I'm very interested in that one.
Okay. It's
Yes,
it's entitled Intense, and it's
yes.
about a police officer, black police officer, who finds herself in a white precinct, and the guys who he's working for um, are responsible for killing his father. You see,
Mm,
Oh wow.
and
Oh, I didn't
so
know.
he's
Yes.
he's not about in this particular book, he's not about trying to do the right thing. He's trying to get the right thing done. Okay.
Thumbs
So
up to
yeah,
him.
yeah. And hopefully I'll have that done by Thanksgiving. You know,
Oh, good. I'll be
things
looking
go well.
forward to it. God's will.
So
Yes, yes. It
fine.
sounds very interesting. Excuse me.
Okay,
Mm,
okay. But
yeah.
okay, so Kemi, the website is www.
Uh-huh.
The authors, that's with authors with an S, corner
Corner.
dot online.
Okay.
You know, and so if you see something you like, it'll email me if you click the right box.
Okay.
I can send it to you. Yeah. Well, that's it for this week's conversation.
Yeah. Good.
Did anybody have any thoughts on what we should talk about next week?
Um, Not really right now. I really don't, but
Well,
whatever
I'll
it
give you the
is,
topic.
okay.
Give you the topic. We're going to talk about
Exactly.
women.
Women.
Yep. We're going to talk about what fathers tell their sons about women.
Mm.
And I assure you, 99% of us don't tell our sons about women.
Hmm.
That's why we
Okay.
all have difficulty understanding them.
Okay. Right.
Nobody stopped to say, hey, do you actually know what you're doing? No.
I
My friends
understand
told
that.
me. Go
Yeah.
on, I'm sorry. Yeah, you learn stuff in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an extremely interesting topic.
Hmm hmm hmm
Women, period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I hope both of you will join me. Um, I'll send out the link, and if you can, be great.
God's will, and if the creek don't rise.
We'll be here next week,
Be glad to. Thank you for having me.
and thank you for joining us. All right.
Okay.
Good
Love
night.
you. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
We going to stay on or
Yeah, stay on.
okay.